welcome to a brand new episode of Weekend Out. My name is Gaurav. Naam to suna hoga. Now I'm 124 kilometers outside of Dubai, and this is the only spot in the UAE that boasts of the sea, the desert, mangroves, and all these guarded by the beautiful and the famous Hajar mountain range. We're in the beautiful emirate of Ras Al Khaimah.
Hotel and the brand is steeped in an incredible amount of history. It starts way back in the 1800s, and the Waldorf Astoria itself obviously originating from the original two hotels in New York, which actually started as separate hotels, which then eventually joined, actually famously through the Peacock Alley. The Peacock Alley essentially was this long corridor covered in marble that connected the two hotels, and it was the place to be seen and to see the high life of New York. And every Waldorf Astoria in the world now has its own Peacock Alley. Actually, a very interesting part of the history of the brand. Obviously, we all know the story of the Titanic. However, there is a strong link to Waldorf Astoria. Meet Me at the Clock, essentially the hotel became a meeting point for the families who would come together from that tragedy to meet every so often. So the whole Meet Me at the Clock originated from that perspective.
The clocks in each of the Waldorf Astorias in the world have a local feature and includes the 5 daily prayer times. And while looking at the clock, I just realized it's time for me to have a special coffee.
So the Waldorf Astoria, New York claims that is the birthplace of the red velvet cake. I had no clue about this, so that's the reason why having this red velvet cake is extremely special. But that's not the only reason. Another reason is that they've served this red velvet cake to me along with a cappuccino that has a 24-karat edible gold crown. What can I say? This is true luxury, Waldorf Astoria style. Cheers.
Well, the Waldorf Astoria is represented in terms of service by true Waldorf service for every guest that walks through our doors.
The 346 deluxe rooms and suites reflect the palatial surroundings and offer the luxuries of space and tranquility. Royal Suite. This exceptionally spacious 270 square meter suite features separate king-sized and queen-sized bedrooms as well. They also have the deluxe rooms. They are inspired by the palaces of the Arabian Peninsula, and these 76 square meters rooms with large balconies will make the guest stay unforgettable.
Now this is the Imperial Suite at the Waldorf Astoria, and I'm going to give you a tour of this suite.
The Imperial Suite is a truly unique duplex that stands alone over 2 entire floors with its own private internal staircase, a VIP elevator, and direct private spa access.
What a beautiful view this is. In fact, this suite has a terrace with a 360-degree view.
You can admire the views from the balcony at this abundantly expansive 422 square meter space, which features separate king-sized and queen-sized bedrooms, and the living room even has a piano. I'm heading to the first of its kind in the UAE, a pearl farm that produces more than 100,000 pearls each year.
So here's an interesting fact. By the 20th century, the Gulf was actually supplying almost 80% of the world's pearls. Now, to find out a little bit more about the history of the Arabian pearls, we're going to a place called Suedi Pearls Farm. Now, this place is about a 40-45 minute drive from the Waldorf Astoria in Ras Al Khaimah. And to be honest, this drive has its own charm.
I'm going to discover how pearls are cultivated, and if the oyster I get contains a pearl, it's going to be mine. Or at least I think so. Suedi Pearls Farm has opened its doors to the public to share the unique cultural heritage of the pearling industry, explaining the historical evolution and inviting guests to see the underwater treasures of the natural lagoon.
Well, Suedi Pearls goes back to the legacy for pearl diving and pearl fishing for thousands of years. As per the records that we have, archaeological or references in the history, it attracted all people around the world. And its direct link just goes back to my grandfather, the late diver, who have passed over his passion of pearl diving to me. Well, I'm myself a pearl diver for the last 25 years. Because this is not an Emirati, this is not only in the Gulf. People in India, in Sierra Leone, in Eastern Africa, and other parts of the world done this dive using the weight to go down and using the nose clip because there was no equipment in the past.
Now, this is one of the most exciting parts of your trip to Suedi Pearls Farm. Now, this is where you get to witness the traditional way of diving. Now, this is how people used to dive hundreds of years ago without any equipment. We've got Hassan here. He's our hero and the star of this dive. Hassan, are you ready? Ready. Okay, let's do it then.
Farming require maintaining the farm from the bottom, taking care of the spats, oysters, the baby oysters, and making them that we maintaining them and growing them. Pearls, unlike other gems, it doesn't need any cutting or any lustering. It comes as it from the oysters without any manufacturing process like the diamonds and the gold and other gems. It's very complicated process, but it's become very fun for us and entertaining.
So these are the two oysters that we got in our dive. Now here, whenever you get an oyster, once it's opened, if there is a pearl inside, and there's a 60% chance that there will be a pearl inside, you can actually get it for a fee. So we're going to check if I got lucky or not. After soaking in the mountains, the Arabian Sea, and discovering the history of pearl diving and even that of Waldorf Astoria, it's time for a quick break. I'm going to see you on the other side.